Hello, Endo Warrior Goddesses. Thank you so much for joining me for another yoga video. I am so grateful that you are here. Today's quick little 15-minute flow is designed for the follicular phase in our menstrual cycles. Before we get into today's class, I just wanted to remind you that if you enjoyed today's yoga class, you can check out the full menstrual yoga class pack online at my website at bohobaileystudio.com. Inside, there are 15 hours of yoga classes designed for each of the 4 phases in your menstrual cycle so that you can conserve your energy and include mindful movement in your menstrual phases. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started with today's follicular phase class. In the follicular phase in our menstrual cycles, this is a really good time to try new things. We tend to have a little bit higher energy, and so today's class we're going to build some heat, keep the body moving, and so this will be a little bit more of a vinyasa style class, which means we will be focusing on 1 breath per movement. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start today's practice standing at the top of the mat in mountain pose. So go ahead and find our feet in line with our hips. Go ahead and lift up the toes from the mat, spread the toes out wide, and then drop them down to the mat. This helps us get our sense of grounding here. Palms facing towards the front of the mat. Go ahead and engage the core a little bit here, tucking the pelvic floor in. And just taking a few breaths, setting our intention for today's practice. See if you can feel into this sense of inner power. And make a commitment here in this practice to step into our divine feminine self, to awaken this sense of inner power, and move through this flow with that energy. And seeing what that feels like for you right here in this moment as you take a few breaths. Beautiful. Now as you inhale, go ahead and take your arms down, around, and up overhead. Hands come to touch. Bringing the palms through the center of the body all the way down to the mat into our forward fold. As we inhale, hands come to our shins, finding a nice flat back and our halfway lift here. Exhaling, folding forward into that forward fold. Beautiful. As we inhale, hands come down to the mat, stepping the right foot back now into our high lunge. Hands come up overhead. Beautiful. As you exhale, hands come down, framing that left foot. Left foot comes back into plank pose. Nice and strong here, engaging that core. We're going to move through chaturanga. If you want, you can take your knees, chest, chin to the earth, or you can simply bend in through the elbows here, making a nice 90 degrees with the elbows. And as you inhale, shifting the weight forward into our upward facing dog. In our upward facing dog, only our hands and the tops of the feet are to touch on the mat. And then as we exhale, we will move through, rolling over those toes into our downward facing dog, bringing the seat to the sky, finding a nice flat back here. Just breathing. Beautiful. On your next inhale, go ahead and step that right foot through the front of the hands at the top of the mat. Arms come up overhead into our high lunge on the right hand side. Beautiful. On your next exhale, hands come down to frame that front right foot. Left foot meets the right at the top of the mat, folding into our forward fold. Hands come to shins, halfway lift here, exhaling forward fold. And as you inhale, slowly vertebrae by vertebrae, rolling our way back up into our mountain pose. Taking a few breaths here, clarifying that foundation, letting the blood flow back into the body. We're going to do this again on the other side. When you're ready, bending into those knees, arms come down, around, and up overhead. Hands come down through the center of the body all the way down to the mat. Hands come to our shins, halfway lift, and folding forward into our forward fold. On your next exhale, that left foot now steps back to the back of the mat. Arms come up overhead into our high lunge on the left. Into our high lunge on the right. Beautiful. As you exhale, those hands come down to frame that front right foot. Right foot steps back into our plank pose. Moving through chaturanga here, bending into those elbows, being careful not to dump into the shoulders. Exhaling, coming through into our upward facing dog. As we exhale, rolling over those toes, bringing the seat up to the sky, finding our way into our downward facing dog. Beautiful. Now as we exhale, taking that left foot now, stepping the left foot forward through the hands at the top of the mat. Arms come up overhead as we inhale into our high lunge on the left. Beautiful. Hands come down to frame that front left foot. Right foot now comes to step towards the front of the mat, meeting the left in our forward fold. Inhaling now, hands come to shins, flat back. Exhaling, folding forward into our forward fold. And as we exhale, we can roll up into our mountain pose. Just taking a couple breaths here. Clarifying that foundation, letting the blood flow back into the body. We're going to move through this one more time on each side before we conclude our practice for the day. On your next inhale, bending into those knees, hands come down, around and up overhead, palms come through the center of the body all the way down to the mat in our forward fold. Inhaling, hands to shins, halfway lift. Exhaling, folding forward into our forward fold. Beautiful. Exhale now. Hands come to the mat. As we step that right foot all the way back to the back of the mat, hands come up overhead into our high lunge here on the left. Beautiful. Exhaling those hands down now to frame that front left foot, stepping that right left foot back into plank pose, breathing here. Beautiful job. As you exhale now, moving through chaturanga, inhaling into our upward facing dog, and exhaling into our downward facing dog. Beautiful. When you're ready, on your next inhale, you can take that right foot now, step it towards the front of the mat between those two hands. Arms come up overhead into our high lunge on the right hand side. Beautiful. Exhaling, framing that front right foot with the hands, stepping that left foot back now to meet the right at the top in our forward fold. Inhaling, hands to shins, halfway lift. Exhaling into our forward fold. And inhaling slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, coming on up into our mountain pose. Rolling out the shoulders here, taking a few breaths. Just clarify that foundation, let the blood flow back into the body. Let's move through this flow one more time, bending into those knees very gently. Arms come down, around and up overhead as we inhale. Exhaling, folding forward into our forward fold. Inhaling, hands come to shins, halfway lift. Exhaling, folding forward into our forward fold here, bending the knees if that feels good. As you inhale, hands come down to the mat. Left foot now steps back into our high lunge. Arms come up overhead. Nice strong pose here, beautiful. Exhaling, hands come down now to frame that front right foot, moving through chaturanga. Inhaling, upward facing dog. And exhaling into our downward facing dog. We're almost done here. Go ahead and rock the head from side to side if that feels good. Beautiful. On your next inhale, stepping that left foot now through the front of the hands at the top of the mat. Arms come up overhead. Beautiful here. On your next exhale, framing that front left foot with the hands, right foot now steps towards the front of the mat to meet the left, coming into our forward fold. Hands come to shins, halfway lift, exhaling, forward fold. And as we inhale slowly, making our way up into our mountain pose. Hands come through center, and we are just going to slowly and gently make our way to seated, to begin to close out today's practice. Go ahead and cross the knees however is comfortable for you. Take your hands now to your knees. We're going to just move through a few pelvic floor rolls here. So all we're going to do is moving from the hips, I want you to kind of rock to the side and use your hands to kind of push and pull you where you need to go. We're just going to roll from that space in the belly all the way around to one side, all the way to the back, and all the way forward. I've heard of this kind of described as picturing you using your body to scoop out the bottom of a peanut butter jar. And what this does is just feels really good in the spine, helps us get the spine moving, helps us put a little bit of pressure around those organs in the belly, a little bit of detox here. And when you're ready, moving now to the other side, changing that direction. Sometimes it even feels really good on the glute muscles if you've got sore glutes. Moving with the breath here. Beautiful. When you're ready, go ahead and find stillness. We're going to make our way now onto the mat for our final resting pose, savasana. You can either bring your feet mat width distance apart and let your knees kind of touch. You can bring your feet together and let your knees splay out side to side, or you can extend your legs to the bottom of your mat and just lay flat. And if you'd like, you can take one hand to the heart and one hand to the womb space here. Just taking these next few minutes to rest, rest, rest. As you breathe, let this posture allow you to soak up all of the beautiful movement that we did in this practice. Let that movement nourish your body, nourish your being. Thank you for showing up for this practice, for honoring your body and your needs. And for stepping out of your comfort zone. If you'd like, you can repeat the mantra silently or aloud. I am powerful. I am beautiful. I am worthy. I am divine. You can stay here as long as you'd like, or if you're ready to move on with your day, you can go ahead and make your way into a seated position. Thank you so much for joining me for today's practice. The light in me honors the light in each of you. We will close out today's practice with the universal vibration of Om. Inhaling through the nose. Namaste. Thank you all so much for joining me for today's yoga class. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button to continue to build this community. And if you are looking for more videos like this, don't forget to check out the Menstrual Yoga Class Pack on my website at thebohobaileystudio.com. I'll see you next video. Bye. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos. Join our Endo Warrior Goddess community by clicking the link in the description. And as always, I'll be back every Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday with more content.